Welcome back, everybody. Well, theories abound about what might have happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, hijacking, terrorist plots, piracy, all possible deliberate acts. Can security really stop someone determined to harm somebody from boarding a plane? We're going to look at that aspect in just a moment with a special guest who used to run the TSA. But first, I want to get to Pat Buchanan, who is here in our studios, because he's here to weigh in on several things, particularly the development about what's happened with the internet now in the United States, giving up its power on this front. What's your reaction to this?
It's very negative. I think you're transferring the custody of this immensely important function from the United States to an international community which is susceptible to and could cave into pressures and from places like China and others in terms of what they do. I think far better that the United States do it themselves, and I agree with Mike Huckabee. Look, they made some mistakes with NSA, but you don't do because of that out of guilt. You transfer authority over something like this. I'd prefer my own country to have it. I'm more of a nationalist than a globalist.
Do you think this is, again, underscoring a weakness with this administration and the continued sort of a pattern that we've been witnessing?
I think Barack Obama sees himself as much a citizen of the world as he does a citizen of the United States. And I think he has far more confidence in globalist institutions than I do or we should. And I think there's no evidence that the United States has not handled this function properly and well. And I think there's no reason why we should transfer it to another globalist body.
You know, we're here talking about leadership for a moment, and we were just speaking with the former president of Georgia, and we've got this election coming up tomorrow. Despite all the tough talk from this White House, Vladimir Putin isn't going to do anything based on any demands from the United States at this point.
Putin's going to act out of his own national interest.
And so what does it say about the way the president has responded to Putin in this situation?
Well, you know, the president comes off as a fairly weak figure. There's no doubt about it. But with regard to Crimea and Ukraine, my view is that Putin thought he had a great victory in terms of Ukraine was reoriented under Yanukovych toward Russia. And all of a sudden you had this massive coup in the streets, all these folks coming out, they're fighting with police, months after months, building barricades, throwing up tires, and, you know, bully-ragging the president and eventually overthrowing him. And Putin says, I've just lost Ukraine. In our old argument, who lost China? They're asking in Russia, who lost Ukraine? And I think he moved defensively. He went to grab, he said, we can't lose, if we've lost Ukraine diplomatically, politically, economically, we cannot lose Crimea strategically and militarily. Go in and grab it. And so I think he's done that, but I think Putin has a problem here because he has alienated on a semi-permanent basis a country the size of France with 4 times as many people as Greece, and that's Ukraine, with whom he's got historical and ethnic and cultural ties.
But when it comes to the leadership from this White House, there was just a recent Wall Street Journal poll that came out talking about the fact that the president's ratings among people in terms of their expectations for his White House are really quite low, the lowest of any period to this point.
Well, the president has not been a successful president. He's got one great achievement, Obamacare, and it's a monstrous embarrassment, and we've gone through a year of seeing how badly it was done and how badly it was worked up. And I think in foreign policy, he's right, putting down red lines, and he tells countries not to cross them when he's got no authority to take us to war against Syria. And so then he has to back down. And so I think, and then the economy is perking along, but you've had 5 years of sort of mediocre growth, an awful lot of people leaving the labor force. He's not a strong leader. He's not a strong president. He's still liked by a lot of people.
Do you think overall, though, he doesn't hold up that mantle for exceptionalism? A lot of people say he just doesn't.
Well, I think Barack Obama clearly is not in the tradition, if you would call it, patriotic nationalist presidents, of whom the epitome, of course, was Ronald Wilson Reagan. No, he doesn't. He's in a contrast, and he has admitted that. He wanted to transform the nation and make it different and transform the world. And I think he's being consistent with his views and values, but they're out of tune with the American people.
Pat Buchanan, always great to have you here. Thank
Pleasure.
you so much for being with us here in our studios.
Delighted.
Can't wait for your new book to come out.
Okay. We'll be here.
Look forward to it. Thanks.